What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Good morning, world. It's 9:15 a.m. It is Monday. Wow, no, it's not. It is Thursday. Thursday, May 28th, 2020. How's everyone doing on this lovely morning in New York? I hope everyone is continuing to stay healthy. Finally, we are in phase 1. We are starting to reopen here in New York, at least in the Dutchess County area. Thank God. Let's go. Light at the end of the tunnel, guys. Light at the end of the tunnel. We are almost there. We'll see what happens, see how everything progresses as the weeks go by. But it's very exciting to finally be in phase 1 and finally starting to get this ball rolling. I am going to be done with that in terms of Corona. I have more serious issues to discuss on this episode of the podcast, the Fisticuffs podcast. Fisticuffs. Everyone's heard about it. Everyone's seen it. It's national news. The George Floyd incident in Minneapolis. It is the most talked about thing right now. What's going on in our world. And unfortunately, Mr. Floyd tragically passed away due to complete criminal negligence of these officers. Now, before I get sort of involved in this whole thing, what happened leading up to the events of what everyone's talking about does not matter, okay? And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. Because myself as an officer who's gotten into plenty of fights against perps with zero backlash, with zero complaints, due to my mixed martial arts background and knowing how to actually subdue people, which is also, by the way, very important. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's a conversation for another day. But, like I was saying, it doesn't matter what happened or what transpired in the events leading up to the knee on the neck, okay? What really matters is how 3 officers ended up on top of this guy while he was already cuffed, and how one of the officers has his knee on this guy's neck. Okay? Just so you guys know, positional asphyxia is a real thing, meaning in a heightened situation where your body's adrenaline's rushing, heart rate's going, and your body is in a position where it feels like it is claustrophobic almost, or a feeling of basically caving in. A big example of that is being handcuffed behind your back and being on the ground. Now, anyone can do this. Just imagine, okay, just lay down, put your hands behind your back, and you could see how difficult it is to breathe, how difficult it is to move. Now, imagine having 3 bodies on you, okay? Maybe each body is about 215 pounds a piece. You're looking at maybe 600. Okay. 600 pounds of man on you. It's a very, very difficult situation. It's hard for the person who's on the bottom because they feel like they're suffering, right? So now you add an element of a knee to the neck, which is not, and by any means, practiced in the academy at all. Okay? The only thing that I would say about knee to the neck is if you have a very highly combative subject and you have no other means of gaining compliance, so you decide to put the knee behind the neck to gain that compliance. Okay? Pressure on the neck. It hurts. It's definitely not comfortable. Okay? Now, once that compliance is made, right? Once now you have your subject in cuffs, you get the fuck off. Okay? You don't keep your knee on their neck. Okay? You get the fuck off, or you place your knees to the shoulder blade area. Okay? Off the spine, off the neck. Okay? Just enough where your knees are on the shoulder blade, enough for control. That's it. Okay? Otherwise, you get them up and then you put them in the police car. All right? That is police tactics, defensive tactics 101. It's what we're taught. Okay? Armbar hammerlock, immediate control, knees to the shoulder blade. All right? Now, again, you have a man who's pleading for his life, saying that he can't breathe. Okay? Now, the idea of the I can't breathe is it's more so due to the positional asphyxia or the personal asphyxia. Okay? It's due to the fact that if you are, again, face down on the ground with so much weight on you, handcuffed behind your back, pressure on your neck, pressure on the body, pressure on the spine, that your body feels like it is claustrophobic. It feels like it's caving in. Your body feels like it's in an uncomfortable position that your body doesn't want to be in. And your body's basically pleading out that you can't breathe, because especially if you're in, again, like I said before, if you're in a heightened state of mind, right, where your adrenaline's rushing and you're trying to breathe heavy, you can't breathe because, not that you can't, and this is where people misunderstand. It's not that you can't breathe because you're speaking out. Yes, you're speaking out, so technically you could breathe, but the problem is that that's not the case. The problem is when your stomach is pressed against the concrete ground, your adrenaline's rushing, you're pressing against your stomach, which is trying to breathe, which is trying to, if you notice, when you breathe in and out, your stomach goes in and out, in and out. So now imagine that with a heightened heart rate, your adrenaline rushing, and you're pumping, okay? You're pumping. And you can't because of that pressure to the ground. That's where the I can't breathe comes from, okay? And on top of that, Mr. Floyd probably had a medical condition prior. I don't know that, but according to sources, it says that he was having a medical distress. Okay. Now, which would make sense because of the positional asphyxia. All right. Now, again, so just so everyone's clear on this, the I can't breathe is not the fact that he couldn't breathe. It's just that it was hard for him to breathe, if that makes any sense. Okay. Because of the position that he was in. His body was in a complete disadvantage, 110%. That's why as soon as you gain compliance of a combative subject, which I'm not saying Mr. Floyd was, I'm just saying that if he was, what happens is, or just any combative subject, you gain compliance. As soon as you cuff them, you get them up. Put them on their side, put them on their butt, stand them up. That is, again, defensive tactics 101. This is what we're taught in the police academy, okay? We're not, again, taught knee to the neck, right? So when he's pleading for his life and begging for mercy, how can And just on morals alone, forget the situation. Again, it doesn't matter what happened prior. Okay? This isn't a situation where it's use of force, where this man might have a weapon on him or anything like that. It's not a gun. It's not a lethal situation in terms of firearms usage. This is a lethal situation of criminal negligence, of being completely negligent to the fact that these officers, or this officer specifically, had his knee on this guy's neck for over 8 minutes. Now imagine, okay, have your brother, your sister, a family member, someone, okay, put your hands behind your back, lay down on the ground, have a family member, try this. If you are going to do this, practice this as safely as possible. Have their knee on your neck, okay, while they're putting pressure. I can guarantee you it's not going to be a comfortable feeling. I guarantee you you're going to say, I give up, I give up. I guarantee you you're going to immediately move your hands from your back to be able to fix yourself and position yourself where it's comfortable, right? Or fight back. Okay? Here's the thing though. Resist that temptation because you're supposed to be handcuffed. Okay? So if this guy, if Mr. Floyd is in medical distress and this is happening and you have positional asphyxia and you have a knee to the neck for over 8 minutes, what do you think is going to happen? Guys, there's 4 cops. One cop who is quote unquote crowd control, and you have 3 cops that are on top of this guy. He's cuffed. Okay? He's cuffed. He might have been combative beforehand. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Again, like I can't stress this enough. It does not freaking matter what happened beforehand. Okay? But hypothetically, if he was combative, you get him down to the ground. You gain compliance. You do what you got to do. Hands behind the back. He's cuffed. That's it. Now you revert to your training from defensive tactics. Roll him to his side. Check him for weapons. Check him for whatever he's got around the waistband. Sit him up on his butt. And then have him stand. Okay? It's textbook stuff. The way that this happened should not have happened the way it did. It's very, very frustrating, especially as a police officer myself. And for all the good officers out there watching this, it's so heartbreaking to watch and to see. It's so disgusting. It's embarrassing. Okay, it's absolutely embarrassing. Because here's the thing. In the academy, all the recruits, if one recruit messes up, right, for whatever XYZ reasons, the whole platoon gets messed up, right? We all have to do an exercise because we're held accountable. Because it's our job to make sure that we put or help that recruit in any which way possible to make sure that they're squared away. And if they're not squared away and we screw up, well, we screw up as a team, as a platoon. Okay? So in this situation, it is exactly that. We have these officers who absolutely fucked up, and now every police officer is being held accountable. And all the good officers, not for nothing, are all speaking out to let the people know that this is not our way, that this is not how it's like. That there are millions of calls of service, and unfortunately, something like this happens every so often. It should not happen at all. Unfortunately, it does. Sometimes it does, but in reality, it shouldn't. But people need to understand that there are good officers who are not like the one in Minneapolis. There's a lot of good officers that are not like the one in Minneapolis. Okay? So it's definitely disgusting. It's a tragedy. It's horrible, very, very horrible, and them getting fired is a good thing. We'll see what happens in terms of the FBI investigation completely. If they get charged, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the investigation plays out. That's the only time where I would say, in terms of them getting charged, would be, well, that's up into the investigation. What I personally think doesn't really matter, but I can tell you right now that whatever happens, they'll definitely get what they deserve. So, and like I said, the whole accountability thing. Those cops that were there, those other 3 cops should have done something. They should have told their partner to back the fuck off. Hey, let's get him up now. Hey, we got him cuffed. All right. Something should have been done. The accountability, and then the fact that you don't render aid. Like, listen, and again, this is why this situation is so bad, because as police officers, we are sworn to protect our communities, right? When something like this happens, we are all put under a microscope, right? And a lot of bad things tend to happen because there's always going to be a backlash, right? So how come these officers didn't do anything? Why? What makes you what made it? And the fact that they didn't do anything is that they didn't render aid. They didn't render aid. How? Listen, again, policing 101. If a physical altercation ensues, or a deadly physical altercation ensues, where said person is either shot or hurt in any kind of which way, it is our job as police officers to render aid, no matter what. It does not matter. We are required to render aid. We have to render aid. That's our job. And these guys did not even do that. It's sickening, man. It's sickening. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. Okay? What happened was such a tragedy, and it's so bad that I couldn't, it's just so hard to even fathom how these guys, these officers, were even able to be out there. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just hard to fathom how this outcome, how the way, it's just hard to fathom how this outcome came out to be. This scenario, this situation should have been done so differently, should have been handled so differently that it wasn't. It wasn't. And that's the pathetic part about this whole thing, is that where was the common sense? Where was the tactics? It's just such a bizarre situation, so uncalled for. Guys, I can't stress enough how sickening it really is. I really can't. And you know what? Again, and I know people are gonna say, well, you have to wait for the investigation, wait for the autopsy report, wait for this, wait for that. Y'all are lost. You guys are lost. Whoever's saying that, you're lost. Okay? I just checked my TikTok a few minutes ago, right? I had someone say that I should resign. You're fucking lost, dude. You're lost. Me resigning and what I said about the situation has nothing to do with it, man. It has nothing to do about what happened to the events prior. Okay? We're talking about a man dying because of stupidity. Okay? It's you have the Eric Gardner case, right? A little different in a sense. Okay? Because it just wasn't intentional. It's not like the cop in the Eric Gardner case had the guy in a headlock the whole damn time and decided not to do anything about it, It wasn't like he was just, oh yeah, I'm going to keep this guy in a headlock and just choke the shit out of him, right? I just feel like when you watch the video of this Minneapolis situation, this officer had his knee on his guy's neck, and it just looked like for over 8 minutes, like he just didn't care. It's like he did not give a shit. He did not care that this man was pleading for his life, man. Not a zero fucks given. Zero fucks given. Okay? So, this guy on TikTok was saying that I should resign, that I should know all the facts about what happened. Dude, That does not freaking matter, man. The prior events just do not matter. You're talking about morals. You're talking about principle. You're talking about ethics here. When you have, if he was combative, again, hypothetically, if I don't know this. I read an article that said that according to a local restaurant camera feed, it said that he wasn't combative, at least in that camera feed. Now, have things changed? I don't know. I wasn't able to view that footage because of media error, whatever the case may be. But hypothetically, if he was combative, you have 4 cops. 4 versus 1. Who the fuck is in control of that scenario, of that situation? 4 cops, 1 guy. Who's in control? Who's in control? What is he going to do to 4 cops? You gain the compliance. You put him in handcuffs. Why are 3 guys on top of him still? Why? Why? Okay? That's the problem. That is the underlying issue. Whatever happened beforehand doesn't matter. Clearly something had to have happened for this guy to be on the ground. Whether it be the cop's fault or his fault. Something obviously happened. It doesn't matter what happened. What matters is that there's 4 cops, 1 guy. 3 guys all on top of this 1 man. He's handcuffed. You're controlling him at the legs, the body, and the neck. That's the issue. He's pleading that he can't breathe. He's pleading for mercy. He is saying, please get off of me. 4 cops, 1 guy. Why the fuck do you still have your fucking knee on his neck? Should I say this again? 4 cops, 1 guy. It's ridiculous. You literally cannot defend these officers. There is no back the blue here. There is no blue. Okay? There's right and wrong. And these motherfuckers were wrong. Okay? That's it. I don't give a single fuck what happened beforehand. Okay? I don't. Aside from this guy having a gun and trying to kill these officers, I do not care. It does not matter. Okay? 4 cops, 1 guy. You want to take it a step further? The initial call, 2 cops, 1 guy. 2 cops, 1 guy. Safety in numbers. What is 1 guy going to do to 2 cops? What is 1 guy going to do to 4 cops? Right? It does not matter. No matter how you try to pinpoint this, to swing it in whatever which way you think is right, you're not doing it. Okay? So when I see these TikTok comments and I see this guy telling me that I should resign and that I should wait for the facts to come out, you're lost. Dude, you're lost. Just get the hell up out of here. You're lost. Alright? Not only are you lost, get fucking lost. Go. Because you're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. Hands down, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? You're talking about another human being here, guys. Another human being, alright? Us cops ain't fucking shit. And all the good ones know that just because we have a badge and gun don't fucking mean shit. You still gotta treat people with respect. Doesn't fucking matter. Alright? For whatever reason, these idiots get lost with this shit, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay? I don't. There's cops out there, the bad ones, who just think that because they have a badge and gun that they can fucking do whatever the fuck they want. It's very, very frustrating to see, man. It's very frustrating to see. It's not the case. It's not the case at all. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. What you have is a job. What you do is supposed to uphold the Constitution. That's it. You protect property, you protect people, life. You serve. Okay? Nothing more, nothing less. There's principle, there's morals, and there's ethics. Okay? And we have to be put in check. We have to be put in check. Guys, like these officers, we have to be put in check. They have to be put in check. It's absolutely bullshit, man. It's bullshit. It's not. That situation was such a tragedy and so unnecessary in so many ways. Again, I don't give a shit what happened prior. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 4 cops, 1 man who's in control. Okay? Who's in control? Because what happened was a man lost his life for no reason. For no reason. Okay? And again, I'll even go a step further, see the other side of it. Who cares? Was he doing something wrong? Yeah, maybe. Was he violating the law? Yeah, maybe. Was he fighting the cops? Yeah, maybe. Was he intoxicated? Maybe. Was he on drugs? Maybe. Doesn't matter. Okay? Doesn't matter. Again, anything short of a gun and him trying to kill someone, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Yo, he's trying to fight 2 cops. It's 2v1. 2v1. You call for backup? 2 more cops show up. 4v1. Oh, he was combative with you, right? Okay, so you got him to the ground. You have 3 cops on him, all restraining 3 parts of the body. He's handcuffed. Okay. Hey, dumb shits. Let's go back to let's revert back to training. Put him on his side. Put him on his butt. If he's so combative, at least put him on his butt. Sit him up on his butt. I don't get it. I don't get it. You're playing tough guy on a man who is outnumbered 4-1. Okay? You guys ain't shit. Just know that. You guys ain't shit. If you were something, it would take one of you guys to subdue him. Oh, you don't train in mixed martial arts? Well, guess what? Maybe you fucking should. And that goes for every freaking cop out there. Maybe you guys should. Okay? Maybe you should go train. Oh, you can't afford it? Well, you know what? Now this goes nationwide to federal level to all departments out there. Send your fucking cops to get training. Mandatory training. Mandatory training. Set it up. Okay? Set it up. It is so important for cops to know hand-to-hand combat. And I don't understand it how there are cops out there who don't care or don't have any knowledge other than what they're taught in the academy, which is shit, by the way. The whole defensive tactics curriculum should be restructured in the academy. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, all that stuff. Restructured completely. Outside of the academy, they should be trained. Departments should send their cops for training on an everyday, weekly basis, 24/7, 365. Period. What happened in Minneapolis is absolutely disgusting. It shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. It should not have happened. It's bullshit. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. It's unethical. Unmoral. Not on principle. Okay? Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's unwarranted. A man lost his life for no reason. A family lost a son, a father, a husband, a friend for no reason. Again, doesn't matter what happened prior. Doesn't matter if he has a rap sheet. Doesn't matter if he's a lifelong criminal. What matters is this guy's life in this very moment, in that very moment. That's what matters. Everything before that, it does not matter. A video is showing that there are 3 cops on top of this guy. It's 3-on-1, 4v1 minus the guy on doing stupid ass crowd control. It's bullshit. Okay? You had compliance. You had him cuffed. Get him the fuck up. That's on you. Therefore, now all of law enforcement is suffering the backlash now. All the good cops are suffering the backlash now. Now it's up to us as the good cops to own up to this, to be accountable for you fuckers, because you guys couldn't revert to your fucking training. That's bullshit, and we don't deserve that. Us good cops in our law enforcement communities don't deserve that. It's bullshit on so many levels. Okay? Because now we're out here not defending you motherfuckers. We're out here showing the people, the civilians, the citizens, that we're sorry that this happened. And that there's a shit ton of us that are not like that. There's about 700,000 police officers. Okay? 1% maybe, I would say, are probably bad cops. Do the math on that. None of them should be bad cops. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. But think about that. And as far as that goes, that's it. I'm done. I'm just disgusted with it. Prayers go out to the Floyd family. Rest in peace, Mr. Floyd. And we'll see how we can get through this. How their families can get through this. My prayers go out to the families. So now, as we move on from that, we have fights this upcoming weekend. We have Woodley versus Burns. Gilbert Burns is in the top 10 in rankings in the welterweight division, going up against Woodley. Tyron Woodley it's going to be a good fight. Stylistically, it should match up to be a great fight. In terms of the whole fight card, that's pretty much the only fight that actually matters. So that's all I'm going to really talk about. The Woodley fight, that's going to be a good fight. We'll see how that goes. It's pretty much Woodley's fight to lose. If Gilbert Burns comes out victorious in this fight, that's definitely going to skyrocket him into the rankings. And like I said, definitely Woodley's fight to lose, because if he loses this, then obviously it's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough loss for sure. But let's backtrack here. So earlier in the week, we had we had a couple tweets from Conor McGregor mentioning who the GOAT is, the MMA GOAT. So he put Anderson Silva at number 1. Obviously had him tied. He put himself at 2, if not tied for 1. He put GSP at 3. He put John Jones at 4. And then he put... That's it. Yeah, that's all he had. He had Silva. So, yeah, Silva himself, GSP, and Jones. Now, a lot of backlash came from that. You had guys like Khabib. He came out saying how Conor McGregor lost via submissions, how he hasn't defended his belt. You had Nate Diaz come in saying that he's the GOAT, that he tapped out McGregor. You had John Jones come out basically saying that it's up to the fans really to determine who is the GOAT. And then you had Jorge Masvidal, who jumped in on Nate Diaz saying that, well, bruh, I have the BMF title. I basically TKO'd your ass. So now you have those two trying to run it back, and then it just became a whole mess of who is the GOAT. Okay, so which now that I think about it, to talk about the GOAT, the MMA GOAT, it's hard, man. You have Henry Cejudo, who just recently retired. He held belts in 2 different weight classes. He's a gold medalist. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's definitely tough. You have, again, GSP, Anderson Silva, John Jones. Now, for me, when it comes to steroids or any kind of PED use or any human growth hormones, I think you're automatically pretty much out of that running. So you go from, I think Silva tested positive. I know John Jones has tested positive. So I mean, that right there kind of automatically just boots them out of the GOAT rankings, which is a shame. Khabib, who's 26-0, he's defended his title multiple times. GSP, man, I think honestly, GSP is definitely a huge favorite for sure. Stylistically, how he fought is very different compared to what everyone says, I guess, if you will. There's a lot of, it's not like basketball or baseball or football. GOAT status in combat sports is not, I don't want to say easy, but it's kind of perplexing in a way, because you have to figure out win-loss record. You have to figure out how many title defenses. You have to figure out knockouts, submissions, things like that, So depending on how you look at it, could be the difference maker here. But like I said, you got Conor McGregor, you have John Jones, you have Cejudo, you have GSP. Again, me personally, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, Silva's out of it for me. John Jones is out of it for me. Again, HGH, steroids, PED use, when it comes to combat sports at least, and contact sports like football, I think it's a different story. It's because of the physical implications that you put on a man when you're tackling them, when you're punching them. So that stuff is actually very serious, especially if you're juicing up. But if you're talking about sports like basketball or baseball or cycling or whatever, what have you, it really doesn't matter. Like baseball, who cares if you're juicing in baseball? You know what I mean? You're not hurting anybody. If anything, you're making for primetime TV. You're making ratings, right? Basketball, same thing. Ratings. You know what I mean? Football, you're talking about possibly gaining an advantage in terms of hurting someone else, right? That's kind of where, me personally, in my opinion, that's kind of where I draw the line. Is when you're trying to, I get it, you're not trying to hurt someone, you're doing it for yourself so you can perform at an elite level. However, when it becomes to the expense of, if you're a defensive player and you're doing it and you tackle people, then it becomes an issue, right? And then, yes, wide receivers, if they were doing it, it wouldn't really matter because their job is just to catch the ball. However, there are situations where interceptions happen. You have to make a tackle, so therefore you are in a situation like that. And on top of that, if you catch the ball and you truck and you lower your shoulder and hit people to get past them, that's, again, you're using that to your advantage. So for me, in terms of contact sports or combat sports, I think that steroid use is definitely a no-no. Sports like baseball, where it really doesn't matter, you know what, have at it. Like I said, it makes for, you talk about like the Sosa Mark McGuire time or Sosa Bonds time, you know? Those guys were hitting bombs, right? Everyone wanted to tune in. Everyone wanted to tune in and watch them hit home runs. You had Sosa and McGuire going at it, right? Made for ratings. Doesn't hurt them. Does not hurt them. They ain't doing anything to the other team, right? So, but again, the whole idea is steroids is more on principle basis and morals, so I understand that. But yeah, in terms of MMA GOAT, it's really hard to say. I'll leave that to fans. I have my personal opinions on that, but I'll keep that stuff to myself. Leave that to the fans to discuss who is the GOAT in combat sports, or MMA specifically. And pretty much to piggyback off of a couple of guys I mentioned, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. So there's a few events coming up, and then there's this Fight Island event that should be coming up, supposedly coming up in June, July. I think realistically probably July. But yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I would like to talk about with that is you have two guys who kind of jumped down on Conor McGregor's throat about the whole GOAT status, and those two guys are Masvidal and Diaz. So I'm hearing a lot of rumblings going around about a Diaz-Masvidal 2 fight. That fight would obviously be it would just be a money fight. But here's the thing about that fight specifically, okay? Although the Masvidal-Diaz fight was probably the most hyped fight in a while to crown the BMF in the world, if you watch that fight, and I think Diaz also mentioned something about having some underlying issues going on, but however, with that being said, if you look at the fight, Masvidal was pretty much teeing off on Diaz. It was really just a one-sided fight. It really didn't even matter in the sense of what Diaz can do going into the 4th and 5th rounds before the doctor eventually stopped the fight. So, with that being said, would a Diaz-Masvidal 2 fight be exciting to watch? I mean, from a fan standpoint, yeah, 100%. From a analytical standpoint, doesn't really make sense. Masvidal, it was a one-sided fight. Masvidal's teeing off on Diaz. What else is there to prove? You know what I mean? Well, Rock, Diaz and McGregor fought twice, and Diaz beat McGregor. Yeah, you're right. But if you look at that first fight, couple things. Diaz took that fight on short notice. Diaz was getting picked apart in that fight before McGregor got winded, okay, in that 3rd round or whatever round it was. And then eventually got choked out, submitted, okay. So the reason why you would show or have a second fight for that is, A, besides the fact it's a money fight, B, in that first fight, it was kind of anyone's fight for a hot minute there, right? You had McGregor picking off on Diaz. You had Diaz picking off on McGregor before eventually Diaz submitted McGregor, right? And then now you have the second fight, their sequel fight, and pretty much those two were going at it. It went into a decision, okay? So, again, it could have been anyone's fight to lose there. Diaz could have won that bout, right? So McGregor wins that fight, so now we're tied 1-1 in the series, right? So now, would a McGregor-Diaz 3 fight at Fight Island make more sense? Is that the money fight, right? Is that the main event fight on Fight Island? Or at a local venue? Right? So, and I know there was, I think Dana White mentioned something about having a surprise for Masvidal or having something for Masvidal that was secret or surprising or something of that nature. Here's my problem with that. There is no fight minus a Masvidal-McGregor fight. There is no other fight to make for Masvidal besides McGregor than Usman. That is the fight to make for the welterweight championship belt. Masvidal, Usman. That's the fight to make. Okay? That's the fight to make in July. That's the fight that should be on Fight Island. All right? Now, ideally, here's what I'm thinking. You have McGregor Diaz, 3. You have Masvidal, Usman as the co-main. Right? And then you have a whole bunch of other fights that you could fill in, however which way you want to fill it in. Okay, a lot of analysts are saying Conor McGregor Diaz, Darren Till Whitaker, Kobe Covington, Leon Edwards, Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie, or Joseph Benavidez and Delvison Figueiredo, Darren Till, Robert Whitaker. Robbie Lawler, Anthony Pettis. Again, McGregor Diaz. Someone put in Israel Adesanya, Paulo Costa. For whatever reason, someone put in Henry Cejudo, Jose Aldo, even though he retired. Darren Till, Robert Whitaker. So, a big thing that I keep seeing is Conor McGregor Diaz, and I'm not totally against that. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. Right? And then, here's another kicker, though. You have Usman, who's been coming out talking about a fight with Conor McGregor, saying that Conor McGregor should take a title fight against him. Now, here's the thing about McGregor fighting at welterweight. Okay? He did it against Cowboy. He looked good against Cowboy. Usman, on the other hand, is a different kind of athlete. He's not a Cowboy Cerrone. Usman's bigger. I don't know if McGregor would be able to handle Usman at welterweight. It's interesting. It's an interesting fight to think about. Okay? It's interesting. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's the fight to make. I don't think Usman McGregor is a fight to make. Masvidal is a clear number one contender. Masvidal Usman is the fight to make. So, in my analytical perspective, it should be McGregor Diaz, Masvidal Usman, Darren Till, Robert Whitaker, or first Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa, and then Darren Till, Robert Whitaker. So yeah, right. That's 5, right? McGregor, Diaz, Masvidal, Usman, Adesanya, Costa, Darren Till, Whitaker. Oh, one more, and then I would put in shit. You could probably put in Kobe Covington. Have him fight again. Have him fight someone. Maybe Leon Edwards, or you could put a fight in like heavyweight division. Put John Jones back in there, and have John Jones go up against Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz. Sorry, Jan. I mean, he's kind of like a number one contender. He took out Corey Davis a few months ago, which John Jones was present at. That's a fight to make, no? So that's kind of my outtake on that, on the fight card for Fight Island, your fantasy fight card, if you will. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But bottom line, the fights that should happen, that should go down, that I think makes sense, is Masvidal and Usman for the welterweight title. And that's pretty much it. Okay? If you're going to put McGregor in there for ratings, for money, then you should do a McGregor Diaz 3 fight. That trilogy fight is the fight to make. Okay? That is the fight to make. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It just wouldn't make sense for McGregor to go up to welterweight to go up against Usman. I just don't like him at welterweight there. I just think that Usman's just a bigger guy. Again, no disrespect to McGregor, and I'm sure McGregor can handle his own. Honestly, I'm sure he can. But that's what's so exciting about it, man. That's what's so exciting about it. You just don't know. Especially with McGregor, you just don't know, man. You just don't know. You just don't know. But normally, I would put McGregor up against anyone at 175 or 180, right? If you're just Joe Schmo. But Usman ain't no Joe Schmo. I put McGregor up against someone who's 205, 215, 220, 230, right? And I would have my money on McGregor all day. Again, Joe Schmo. But you're talking about John Jones. You're talking about Daniel Cormier. You're talking about Stipe Miocic. If you're that crazy, and obviously I'm not saying that Conor McGregor is going to go up into that weight class. That's just ridiculous. But you get what I'm saying. In comparison to Kamaru Usman, that's exactly what it's going to be like. Kamaru Usman's he's just built differently than what Cowboy was built like. So it's definitely going to be it's an interesting thought. We'll see what happens. The secrecy to it is crazy. You have Colby Covington, speaking of him before, he's running his mouth. He's talking about Conor McGregor. He's talking about Masvidal. He's talking about Usman. I have no idea why this guy's running his mouth. I really don't. This dude got his shit beat out of back in December against Usman. And here he's talking shit about him. He's talking shit about McGregor. He's talking shit about Diaz. Talking shit about Masvidal. I don't know. Shut the fuck up, dude. Just shut up. Stop promoting yourself. No one just stop. You can't run your mouth like that and lose. You know what I mean? Especially after losing to Usman, you can't just be running your mouth right now and just okay. Like nothing ever happened. Dude, you got fucked up. You got KO'd, bro. Shut up. Beat a world-class fighter at the elite level, and then talk your shit. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. But a Colby Covington fight, maybe you put that on Fight Island. Who knows who you put him up against? Maybe Leon Edwards, sure. If he's able to leave the country at that point. I'm not really too sure. I don't know. I'm not sure who else you could put up against Colby Covington at this point in time. I know Dustin Poirier, speaking of going back to lightweights, I know Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker got, I think their fight got finalized. That's a great fight. That's an excellent fight, man. Daniel Cormier and Dan Hooker, woo! Holy shit! I think Poirier's has an edge, at least striking wise. Absolutely. So that's gonna be an exciting fight, 100%. It's gonna be a real exciting fight. Can't wait to see that bad boy. But yeah, I think the fight to make right now is Masvidal Usman. That's just the fight to make for the championship, for the welterweight title. That's just, you have to make that fight, man. You have to make that fight. You just have to. And then speaking of light heavyweights, recently in war of words on Twitter, Francis Ngannou and John Bones Jones. Now that, you want to talk about an exciting fight to watch? That is an exciting fight to watch. Question is, John Jones would have to go up to heavyweight. How would John Jones be at heavyweight? There's a difference from going down in weight and going up in weight, and especially on how your body reacts and how you perform, right? Now, it's a super fight, 100%. it would definitely be a super fight, right? The idea of what happens for the super fight, though, is money. The money. Is the money going to be there? Supposedly, according to what I've been reading on reports and stuff, no, the money is not there. John Jones has pretty much said no, because the money isn't where it's supposed to be. Now, Dana White's saying that fight's not going to happen. Maybe that's just a business tactic, right? Who knows? But with that being said, here we are, still discussing a super fight between Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Now, do I believe eventually that fight's going to happen? Yeah, I definitely think that fight's going to happen at some point. How can you not make that fight? That is a money fight. That fight is the fight to make between these two guys, especially at light heavyweight or heavyweight, because John Jones doesn't have anyone else to fight at light heavyweight. Unless you're trying to do a Dominic Reyes 2 fight, or you're putting in Jan Blachowicz in there. That's the only other fight that I could possibly see happening at light heavyweight. Other than that, John Jones has to move up to heavyweight. He has to get that money fight. So that money fight could be Francis Ngannou, and I think that's a fight to make. I really think it is. Now the idea is to make sure that you get that money in. Hopefully that money is going to be enough to pay these guys out to make the fight happen, right? We'll see. I don't know, but that's just kind of how I feel about that. Right, we'll just see how that really goes. Now, so we'll see what happens with that fight. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I think it eventually will. We'll see. And then I think September, we're looking at the Justin Gaethje Khabib fight. That's going to be an exciting fight. Can't wait for that. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's going to be an exciting summer, at least in terms of fights. It's going to be exciting to see how the Fantasy Island fight card pans out. I can't wait. I wish they could just announce it, but we'll see. We'll see how things kind of play out here. So, then we have UFC 250 just got finalized. UFC 250 is taking place on June 6th, I believe. Saturday, June 6th. Headlining the fight card is Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. Then you have Sun Chao versus Garbrandt. You have Sterling versus Sandagan. You have Magny versus Martin. And then you have one of my personal favorites. He's a rising star, up-and-comer. Sugar Sean O'Malley and Weidland. Eddie Weidland. Eddie Weidland is a vet. That's an awesome fight for Sugar Sean. Man, I love that fight for him. That's a fight that he wins this fight, skyrocket through the rankings at bantamweight. And guess what? There's a certain belt, bantamweight, that has been vacated. So we'll see what happens. You know, that bantamweight division. Look out for Sugar Sean O'Malley, man. That guy's a star. I'm telling you, he's a stud. This guy's a stud. You'll mark my words. Mark my words. So that's a pretty exciting fight card. Garbrandt's coming back. Sterling is coming back, and then Nunes versus Spencer, and that's going to be a phenomenal fight, man. That's going to be a great fight. It's a classic striker versus wrestler matchup. It's going to be a good fight for sure. That's going to be a good fight. 100%. 100%. But what else we got? Yeah, that's pretty much it for UFC. That's pretty much it for UFC. Nothing to report in boxing other than Mike Tyson coming back. Apparently, there's been words for Mike Tyson. I've heard rumors going around that the Tyson Fury fighting Mike Tyson. I heard rumors about Tito Ortiz fighting Mike Tyson. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's happening. I don't even think that's happening. I think it's just straight up charity fights that are going on, so I don't really know what's happening. But interesting to think about. Very interesting to think about. So moving on, wrestling, we have AEW, 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 AEW. All Elite Wrestling this past weekend. They had their Double or Nothing show, a fanless event, but nevertheless, they did not disappoint. They did not disappoint. AEW put on a great show, a great pay-per-view. Apparently, the pay-per-view buys went well above what was predicted, which is great. Speaking of Mike Tyson, he made an appearance. So let's break this down, okay? We had the show open. So we had the buy-in, which was Private Party versus Best Friends. That was a great match throughout. Very, very entertaining. The stipulation for that match was that whoever won that match will get a future title shot against the World Tag Team Champions. Private Party ended up losing. Best Friends won, which I am in agreement to. I think that was a smart choice. Best Friends have been fan favorites. They've been winning, so they are the clear-cut, decisive choice to challenge Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the World Tag Team titles. So then you had, that was the buy-in. So then you had the first match, which was the Casino Royale ladder match, or the Casino ladder match, I should say. Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Joey Janela, Scorpio Sky, Kip Sabian, and Frankie Kazarian and Luchasaurus. With a TBD. That TBD was free agent Brian Cage. Brian Cage made his debut with Taz. I'm excited to see what Brian Cage is all about. I heard a little bit about him. I haven't heard much outside of that, especially not from WWE fan standpoint, because he was with a different promotion. But from seeing what he was doing and what he was about, this guy is a freak of nature. He is huge. He's probably the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, that AEW has to offer. Brian Cage is going to, it seems like he's going to wreak havoc. He actually ended up winning, and he now, stipulation for that match was a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship title. So that was a great surprise appearance for Brian Cage. Fans of Brian Cage, I'm sure, were happy to see him show up. AEW knows how to make surprises. Then you had MJF and Jungle Boy in a singles match. MJF beat Jungle Boy. That they put on a great show. They're just wrestling tech. So here's the thing with AEW. A lot of the wrestlers aren't big wrestlers, not big guys maybe that you would see like on WWE, but they are very technical wrestlers. These guys know how to wrestle, man. Their in-ring ability is through the roof. So what a lot of these guys are young too. These guys are young studs, man, especially on a roster like this with the kind of talent they have. These guys are only going to benefit, man. They're only going to benefit. And yeah, they're not huge, but again, their in-ring talent is incredible. And these guys could go places, man. These guys can. It's up to us as fans to push them on, to do our best to back them, to give them the rightful pushes that they deserve. So, but yeah, man, the MJF Jungle Boy matchup was great. Both wrestlers did exactly what they told a story in the ring. They did a great job. MJF came out victorious, beating Jungle Boy. And then Mike Tyson So Mike Tyson's job at AEW Double or Nothing was to present a new mid card or TV title, the TNT Championship belt. Okay, there was a tournament that lasted a couple months that eventually leads to Double or Nothing. The two finalists, Cody and Lance Archer. That match was brutal. Lance Archer was pretty much in control for a majority of that match. However, Cody also held his own, and he had his high spots in that match. Eventually, Cody becoming victorious, hitting Lance Archer with Crossroads on numerous occasions. That match was a great match. That match was about a solid 22-minute match. It was good. It was a great match. Cody is now the AEW, or the first ever AEW TNT championship. So congratulations to Cody. Awesome match. Then in the female division, you had Chris Statlander go up against Penelope Ford. Was supposed to be Britt Baker, but she ended up getting hurt on the Wednesday Dynamite show prior to Double or Nothing. Chris Statlander won that match. Then you had pretty much a quick send-off match between Dustin Rhodes and Shawn Spears. Dustin Rhodes put away Shawn Spears quickly. And then for the women's AEW World Championship, you had Hikaru Shida against the champion Nyla Rose. That match was a fantastic match, brutal match between these two females. Oh my God, man. What such an exciting match to watch. It really was so exciting, man. It really was. These girls just put it out there, man. Hikaru Shida, rightfully so, became victorious and won, and is now your new AEW Women's World Champion. Which, like I said, rightfully so. She's very marketable. She's over with the fans. She just has it all, man. She's a well-rounded wrestler, 100%. Then you had the Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee match. Again, for the AEW World Championship. Again, another brutal match. Another match that had you in your seats. It was an exciting match. Couldn't ask for anything more. This match had everything involved. Agility, power, grit. It was a great match. Jon Moxley used his finisher against Brody Lee in the stage area, and actually broke through, and then eventually submitted Brody Lee to retain his title. And then the match that everyone is talking about, the Stadium Stampede match. Guys, this was like 40 minutes of amazingness, okay? 40 minutes of greatness. This match was awesome. This match could not have been perfectly done. This match had your storytelling, your comedy spots, your high-flying spots. This match had everything. So the Stadium Stampede match was the Elite, including Matt Hardy, versus the Inner Circle. This match had everything. This match had comedy, like I said. You had a bar fight. You had pretty much Matt Hardy going through his past in terms of his different versions of wrestling. You had high flying spots with Kenny Omega dropping Sammy Guevara probably over 15 feet. Yeah, and then you had your funny spots, like I said. Matt Jackson performing the Northern Lights suplex, 100 yards for a touchdown. You had Chris Jericho pinning Nick Jackson, and there being a close call, so he decided to challenge the play with throwing the red flag. So him and Aubrey Edwards goes into the review booth, and then you had when Matt Jackson scored the touchdown, completing his Northern Lights 100-yard stint, you had him over celebrate, which then Ref Knox threw a penalty flag for for personal foul, obsessive celebration, whatever, and he ended up super kicking the ref. Man, it was just great. It was great. It was a great all around match. It was so fun to watch. It was so enjoyable. It was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And again, like I said, man, it was a comedy match, but they did it right. They did it right. In the beginning, oh my god! In the beginning, their entrances in the inner circle with like complete football gear, absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm telling you guys right now, if you haven't seen this match, you gotta watch it. You have to watch it. It was a great match. The Elite came out victorious in this match. They beat Inner Circle, but this is definitely not gonna be the end of these two factions going at it. I'm sure that there's gonna be more to come. A lot more to come. So then, last night was AEW Dynamite's first show since Double or Nothing. That opened up with the Young Bucks teaming up with Matt Hardy against Private Party and Joey Janela. Basically, kind of do a quick rundown here. The Young Bucks ended up winning the match. One half of Private Party got hurt. Quincy, I think. He ended up getting helped to the back by Matt Hardy, and which left the Young Bucks in the ring by themselves. They ended up getting jumped by the Butcher and the Blade. And then, surprise, surprise, remember how I said AEW is really good with surprises? Sure as shit, here they come. FTR. FTR. Formerly known as The Revival with WWE. Cash Wheeler and Dak Harwood, I think is that his. Hold on, let me double check this real quick. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mess this up. Let me just check this out real quick. Stand by, guys. Yeah, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Sorry for that. So, or known as FTR. They came back. They came out for the quote unquote save, and then just before the Young Bucks reached out to shake their hands, they initiated a stare down, and then FTR walked away. So obviously, eventually leading up to a FTR versus Young Bucks matchup. Now that's going to be exciting. Welcome Cash and Dax. Welcome to Freedom. And you guys are obviously going to kill it. You guys did great as a Revival in WWE. You guys are going to do even better now that you guys are going to be able to have your creative freedom. So again, surprise, surprise. That's what AEW does. So then you had... more notably, you had Cody Rhodes came out, did a quick promo saying that he is going to be a fighting champion, where he's going to come out weekly and do his thing. Brian Cage made his Dynamite debut, pretty much squashed Lee Johnson. Basically, the match was set up for Jon Moxley. And Brian Cage are going to eventually duke it out at the next pay-per-view, Fyter Fest. So, well done here, Brian Cage. AEW did a great job in showcasing Brian Cage's agility skills, power skills, but also his dominance. So, kudos to AEW on showing what Brian Cage is about. Then you had... Britt Baker come out with her promo. She was explaining how it's a conspiracy that she got hurt. It was pretty comical, actually. It was actually a pretty solid promo. Hikaru Shida versus Christy James. Another good, solid match. Hikaru Shida obviously winning. And then you had SCU versus Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc eventually ended up winning. It was definitely a hard fought match between both teams. Definitely going to be interesting how they move on. The stipulation for this match was extremely important because now the winner of this match goes on to face off against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega at next week's Dynamite. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. And then you had the Battle Royale, which is the Battle Royal match, which is basically a setup for who's going to have a shot at the TNT Championship. Members involved. There was a few members involved. Yeah, Jurassic, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, Luther, Christopher Daniels, Sonny Kiss, Brandon Cutler, Peter Avalon, Colt Cabana, Billy Gunn, Wardlow, and MJF. Basically, and Orange Cassidy. Can't forget Orange Cassidy. Jungle Boy ended up winning this one, which was actually very surprising. I actually thought MJF was going to win just due to how he's such a terrific heel. He has history with Cody, and he's I think his win-loss record is undefeated for 2020. So I thought MJF was going to win, but no. Jungle Boy has a shot against Cody. We'll see what happens. I don't think Cody's going to lose a title anytime soon. I would imagine he would either make it to Fyter Fest, win it at Fyter Fest, and then probably lose it at all in September. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. And then one of the most exciting points of the night was the Inner Circle had a pep rally. Basically, Chris Jericho just wanted to help boost the team, even though they had lost the Stadium Stampede match. Basically, the whole point of this segment was to keep Inner Circle in high spirits. But then Mike Tyson made a surprise appearance, or not a surprise appearance. It was known, but he came out and he came out with his own posse, okay, his own faction. Notable people that he came out with: Henry Cejudo, Rashad Evans, and Vitor Belfort. Yes, you heard those names right. Henry Cejudo, Rashad Evans, and Vitor Belfort, all former UFC fighters. So they come down to the ring. Obviously, it's faction versus faction. They're all facing off against each other. Chris Jericho is a little pissed off about an event that had taken place back in 2010 with WWE, presumably. And apparently Chris Jericho never forgot. Mike Tyson comes out, does his thing, quick promo, saying a couple things, rips off his shirt, gets into it with Chris Jericho. Okay? So he shoves Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho bounces off the ring, shoves Mike Tyson back, and then next thing you know, an all-out brawl ensues. Holy shit, man. When I say a brawl ensued, it was like mayhem just like that in seconds. Wrestlers from the back, referees from the back, everyone just came in out of nowhere and started just separating these two groups. It was absolutely insane. It was such a great way to end the show. It was fantastically done. Oh my god, it was so great. I wonder what they're going to end up doing for the future, if they are going to end up doing anything in terms of a potential Mike Tyson Chris Jericho match. But my god, man, that was awesome. And here's the funny part about this, right? So you have Chris Jericho, you have Sammy Guevara, Santana Ortiz, right? These guys they're wrestlers, right? Jake Hager, on the other hand, is an actual MMA fighter, right? He fights out of Bellator. And so you have the Inner Circle, right, which obviously, and then you have Mike Tyson, Henry Cejudo, Vitor Belfort, and Rashad Evans. All those guys are championship fighters, man. So it is absolutely insane to see these guys brawl out in the middle of the ring. It was pure gold. It was pure gold. And the funny part is, it's like you're talking about Mike Tyson, Henry Cejudo, Rashad Evans, and Vitor Belfort. Aside from Jake Hager, because obviously he's an MMA fighter too, that is pure freaking, that's just amazing. That's a brawl that out in the street would just not be good for the Inner Circle. Okay? Besides Jake Hager. Jake Hager would be able to obviously do what he's got to do. But yeah, that was just such an exciting thing to see. And by the way, those guys, Henry Cejudo, Vitor Belfort, Dan Lambert, who is the top head coach at American Top Team, they all were in attendance at Double or Nothing. So it was good to see all those guys come out to the ring with Mike Tyson and do a little faction versus faction there. I wonder what's going to happen for the future if they do anything with that. I think that would be neat to watch. Obviously, you would have to just concentrate on these guys just concentrating on their MMA background versus wrestling stuff, but pro wrestling, I mean. But I mean, I think that'd be pretty awesome to see if they do anything like that, like a faction versus faction with that. But yeah, so I thought that was cool. I just wanted to bring that up. Just like I said, in a brawl situation, probably in real life, I would definitely go with Mike Tyson's team, minus Jake Hager, because that's again, he is an MMA fighter. So, but yeah, so. It was definitely fun to watch. It was a great way to end the show. It was a great first episode after Double or Nothing. I'm really excited for AEW. I'm excited FTR coming, Brian Cage coming. Now he's need one more. Rusev needs to make his AEW debut, and we'll be all set. We will be all set. Hopefully that happens. We'll see. But that's it for the podcast, guys. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting. Follow me on YouTube at Fisticuffs Podcast. Follow me on Instagram also at Fisticuffs Podcast. It'll be great for you guys to like, subscribe, comment. I'd 100% appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much again. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Be safe. Be healthy. Take care, guys. Be good.